So today we're going to unpack a story that honestly, it reads like some kind of cyber thriller, but it is all too real. And this is a story all about betrayal, where a company's biggest threat wasn't some hacker on the other side of the world, but one of their own trusted employees sitting right there in the office. I mean, it's a pretty chilling question for any company, right? You build these teams, you give people access, you create this environment of trust. But what happens when that trust gets turned into a weapon? Well, in this case, the answer was catastrophic. And it all kicked off with one decision made by a single, very unhappy developer. Thousands. Just look at that number. What does that even mean? It's not about money, it's not about files.
That's right, we're talking about thousands of people probably showing up to work on a Monday morning, ready to go, and they can't log in. Their entire digital workspace, pretty much the whole nervous system of the company, was just severed. And believe me, the chaos was only just getting started.
Okay, so the company we're talking about is Eaton Corporation. They're a huge power management company based out of Ohio. And one day, completely out of the blue, their systems just started failing. And not just in one office, we're talking on a global scale. This was no simple outage. This was a targeted assault from the inside. Can you just imagine being in their IT department that day? Alarms are going off everywhere. Servers are crashing left and right. Nobody can log in. The panic must have been unreal. And I'm sure they figured out pretty quickly this was no accident. Someone had deliberately planted a digital bomb deep inside their network. The call was, quite literally, coming from inside the house. So who was the person behind all this chaos? Well, meet Davis Liu. And get this. He wasn't some new hire or a temp worker. He was a 55-year-old software developer who'd been with the company for more than a decade. He was a trusted insider who knew their systems inside and out. So this timeline really tells the story of how things went so wrong. For over 10 years, Liu was just a standard employee. But then, in 2018, there was some kind of corporate shakeup, and his role got smaller, his system access was reduced, and he clearly felt slighted. But he didn't just quit. Oh no, he started plotting revenge. He planted his malicious code in August of 2019, and the final tripwire? It was when the company put him on leave just a month later. And that brings us to the weapon itself. This was not just some bug or a glitch. This was a sophisticated, multi-part attack designed for one thing: maximum damage. Liu used his deep, intimate knowledge of the company's own code to build what was basically a digital time bomb. So how did he actually pull it off? Okay. First, he created something called infinite loops. The easiest way to think about it is like telling a computer to run in a circle forever. It just keeps going and going until the server is totally exhausted and just crashes. Second, he went after his coworkers directly by planting code that would delete their profile files. But the real masterstroke was step 3, the kill switch, a digital tripwire designed to go off the very second the company tried to cut him off. And you know, the code itself, it really shows you his state of mind. Just look at the names he gave his malicious bits of code. The kill switch itself was named, "Is dial enabled in AD?" A literal question, is Davis Liu still an active employee? The moment the system's answer to that was no, bang, the trap sprung. He even named other parts of his attack Hawkeye, which is Japanese for destruction, and Hun Shui, a Chinese word for lethargy. This was deeply personal for him. You know, what made this kill switch so devastating was its automation. The second someone in HR or IT disabled Davis Liu's account, the code just activated. He didn't have to press a button from home. It was an automated revenge machine that instantly locked out thousands of his colleagues all over the world. So, as the company was scrambling to figure out what was going on, Liu knew investigators would be coming. He made this clumsy, last-ditch effort to cover his digital tracks. But as we all know, the internet never really forgets. There's always a trail. On September 9th, the very same day the kill switch went off, the company asked him to return his work laptop. And in a total panic, Liu tried to wipe it clean, deleting encrypted files, entire project folders. I mean, talk about a smoking gun. It was basically a confession, trying to destroy the blueprints of his crime. But, you know, the most damning evidence wasn't even what he deleted. It was what he'd been searching for. Investigators pulled his internet history, and it read like a how-to guide for corporate sabotage. He was literally Googling how to get more system power, how to hide what he was doing from the admins, and, of course, how to get away with it all. He built his entire attack toolkit right out in the open. Well, with a digital trail that clear, the investigation led straight back to Davis Law. His whole revenge plot completely unraveled, and the justice system stepped in, delivering a verdict that sent a really clear message.
Davis Liu was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison. And on top of that, he got 3 years of supervised release. So yeah, his act of digital revenge earned him a very real-world consequence. In the cost to his former employer, it was just massive. Forget the chaos and the downtime for a second. The actual financial damage was pegged in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, all of it caused by the actions of one person they had trusted for over a decade. You know, this statement from the Justice Department really cuts right to the heart of it. This wasn't just some technical crime. It was a deep, profound breach of trust. Liu used the exact knowledge and the very access his employer gave him to turn right around and stab them in the back. And here it is. This is the key takeaway for every single one of us, and it comes straight from the FBI. We spent so much time and money focusing on outside hackers and fancy malware, but this case is a huge, flashing warning sign that sometimes the biggest vulnerability isn't in your firewall, it's walking down your own hallways. And it really leaves us with this final, kind of unsettling question, doesn't it? We build all these complex digital walls to keep the bad guys out, but this whole story proves that a determined insider doesn't need to break down the wall. They can just walk right through the front door and dismantle the whole place from the inside. It really forces you to ask, how well do you really know the people you're handing the keys to?